Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Dr. Sharma, and since residency interviews are coming up, I figured it'd be a good time to talk about a little bit about Residency Interview 101, what to expect, how to go into your residency interviews and really nail it. And I figured it'd be a good idea to talk about it since I am now a resident and matched and went through the process, the very arduous process and super time consuming and also kind of expensive. Yeah, that's right, you're gonna be flying to a lot of different cities, doing at least a couple of interviews. Unless you're super confident that you're gonna match into your first one, expect to do a lot of interviews and flying around and traveling to increase your chance of matching. Now remember that once you've gotten the interview, you have gotten your foot into the door, so don't fret, don't be nervous. You have now made the cut. At least that absolutely first step in getting into a residency is actually getting that interview, and you finally made that cut. So important thing here is gonna be not to freak out, relax, and make sure to really learn your personal resume. The more you stress out, the worse you're gonna do in your interview, and it's kind of obvious sometimes when you're dealing with applicants and interviewing them. I know I'm now like on the other side and not actually interviewing, and it's kind of like, okay, that's not really fair to say, but a lot of the interviews are gonna be a little bit of a conversation, but I really wanna talk about some one-on-one things that you should know when you're going on interviews. So let's get started. Here we go. Don't you dare ever talk about your board score. Yeah, that's right. They can see it on your sheet. The people who are interviewing you can see exactly how you did in your entire resume, yada, yada. Do not talk about your board scores with any of the other applicants or the residents at dinner, before dinner, after dinner, at the interview day. Do not do that. That's gonna be a complete cut. You are totally out of the program. You're not even gonna get ranked. That's kind of conceited and not even important at that point, maybe to a degree when they're ranking and deciding things, but once you're there, you are all equals. MD, DO, IMG does not matter. You are not there to show off in front of other applicants or residents. You're there to present yourself and present the work that you've done and talk about your personal statement and why you're in medicine and why you want to do that specialty and be at that program when you're in the interview. I don't care how high you scored, I don't care how low you scored and how much you tried. That part of your medical career, that part of your whole residency interview profile is now over, and therefore get over it. You got to move on. You now have to show them that you're a human and why you're in the field, why you're in that hospital in the first place, why you want to be there. Next, don't be a jerk to any of the other applicants or any of the residents, because that's kind of obvious. And it's also obvious just saying that, but also just be courteous, be kind. Don't really overdo it, but you don't want to come off as like a mean personality or anything. You want to be a person that is friendly, at least to some degree, and somebody that you're going to be easy to work with, especially depending on the career that you are going into. And I'm not saying every field that you go into you have to be super sociable and really outgoing, but something like medicine, you have to be able to at least socialize, get your objective facts across, be presentable to some degree. And that pretty much goes for almost any of the fields, maybe besides something like pathology or surgery or something like that, that is a little bit more heads-on work in you and sort of your work. But either way, you're a physician. Most of the careers that you're going to be going into is going to be talking to patients and other consulting services and other physicians. Therefore, you have to be at least sociable and not a jerk. At least not a jerk right now. At least not a jerk during the interview. Honestly, if you are truly a jerk, just don't be yourself, I guess. I don't know. And lastly, don't act too casual or dress too casual for the interview, because you're there to be presentable and be professional. Definitely, I think wearing a tie is going to be important. For females, I see a lot of females in suits, and just being able to really show that you can dress professional and get yourself out there, look good. And when I say look good, at least looking hygienic and being well put together is, I guess, what I'm trying to say. Coming off a little bit too casual means that you're not going to be taking your job seriously, and that's going to be obvious right up the front if you're going to be dressing too casual and not having like proper dress shoes or something like that. Really small things, but first time appearances, those first couple seconds that somebody sees you, so many judgments go across. I can't lie about that. That's just an obvious thing that happens in any sort of interview situation that you do with a lot of jobs. And I know you probably are like, oh, why do you have to judge like that? I'm sorry, but it just happens. I can't control what the interviewers are going to judge you by, how they're going to be judging you, and therefore you got to control as many variables as you can. Important things to do are to really memorize your resume and your personal statement, everything in your application. Memorize that, because there are so many applicants that we as interviewers are going to be going through, looking through, sifting through every single one of the medical student stuff. We cannot memorize all of it unless there's something that really pops out, and we're going to be asking you about it because it's something that would be super important and unique to your profile. Therefore, if you're asked something about a specific volunteer work or a specific abstract or paper that you had submitted and you don't really know what's going on in it and you're like, oh, I have to remember that for a second. Yeah, you can take some time in answering and trying to remember it. We understand, but you should know your CV, you should know exactly what you put on there because you are now presenting yourself, and not the whole board scores thing, not the whole showing off thing, but showing off to a degree, or at least knowing yourself and presenting yourself and knowing exactly what papers you published, being able to give them the information where they can find it, and on top of that, really knowing why you're in that specialty and in that field and applying to that hospital. Drill these things in before the interview on the night of, or even a couple days before that. Therefore, you know it cold and you're not a deer stuck in the headlights when they're asking you about some of your volunteer work or something like that. Always have questions prepared for the end of the interview. You will literally always get asked that question, hey, do you have any questions for us? If I had $1 for every time I was asked that question, I could probably pay off part of my student loans. If you don't have any questions, you're gonna seem a little bit disinterested and you're gonna seem a little bit unprepared. Therefore, prepare some questions that you're gonna have that maybe specific to that program, specific to that area, maybe to that person that you're interviewing. Maybe you're interviewing the PD and they went to maybe your med school, or there's something in their application or CV or some sort of research that they do that you're interested in that actually comes off as very interested and that you actually did your homework. Last but not least, try to attend the resident interview dinner, whether it's before or after the interview. They're usually the night before, and try to get to know the residents and let them sort of take the light sometimes, because if you come off a little bit too headstrong and you're sort of butting heads with opinions with one of the residents, they're gonna take notice of that. They're gonna recognize you when their face pops up when they're deciding on how to rank people. You do not want that. You want to agree with them for the most part, sort of let them shine in the light for a second and really let them talk about their program, ask them questions about it and what they like to do in the city or wherever it is that they're from and why they chose that program. Don't be afraid to ask things about what they don't like about the program, but don't try to push that too much, because then it just seems like you're really trying to egg out the details and tweeze out the things that you should know about that program on why you shouldn't go there. You should do that to a degree, but that shouldn't be the main project, the main sort of thought topic that you're going to be talking about the entire night, because that's a little bit too negative. You want to talk about the positives of the program, because at the end of the day, you're trying to get ranked. If you guys have any other specific questions about the interview process, about med school, about residency itself, it's fantastic being on this side. You're definitely going to make it. But again, go ahead and ask them, comment below, like and share, and please subscribe. It lets me know how I'm doing, and it lets me know what I should be talking about next to help you guys succeed. Dress up, look good, and smile. And as always, good luck.